The plan for today, tomorrow, and the next day is to catch some really nice fish and then build a hot tub with a cold plunge. This just happens to be one of the longest and steepest hikes to get down to the coast in this area. It's like deja vu. The stream is still a trickle. This is 50 feet of 3/4 inch copper piping. In this backpack, I've got everything I think I need to make the hot tub. Now, I've got to go back up to get my cooking, camping, and fishing supplies. Nine years ago, some doctors misdiagnosed me with something and told me I had 5 years to live. "75 feet of hose with a pump and all my other things." You know, I would gladly do this hike 20 times with a smile on my face for the simple fact that I'm blessed with life. And so are you if you're watching this. Well, only one thing left to do, and that's get to the spot. So 2 more trips and I'll start setting up. Before coming out on this trip, I knew it was going to be tough to get onto the beach and that I might have to build a ladder. Look what I just found. I was wondering how I was going to get back up with that copper pipe, all the hoses, because that would be very difficult. So I'm going to bring this back to that starting spot. Man, really, the one thing that I thought I needed to make was a ladder. And the one thing I find immediately is a ladder. What are the chances of that? And look what else I just found. A waterproof Trader Joe's bag. I mean, I don't know if it's waterproof, but I'll keep my fish in there. Even though things seem to really be going in my favor right now, you never know when things can take a turn for the worse. I am in the absolute middle of nowhere with no cell phone reception. So whenever I come out here, I always bring my satellite phone in case I need to reach someone. Man, this last storm really brought some nice stuff in. A 5-liter bottle straight from China. Just gonna collect some water. I'm gonna filter some water. This will be nice not having to go back to the watering hole. Almost 1.5 gallons here. One of those electrolyte salt packs to keep me hydrated and keep the cramps away later. Quick break and I'll start building the resort. This is the hot tub backpack. There's 25 feet of hose I might not need. 2 6-foot sections I'll need later. A whole water pump, but I don't think I can even use this. 2 tarps. I believe this is a 10 by 12 tarp, so I'm just gonna lay it out and see where I think would be the best spot for the hot tub. Thinking something like that. Now I gotta store this tarp away and make sure it doesn't get any rips. Only thing left to do is start digging this hole and hope I don't hit any rocks. Now the question is, am I going to be happy with this depth? Oh, that'll be so nice. Maybe a little bit more leg room. Now this is the tricky part that was keeping me up all night. I have no pumps to get the hot water into the hot tub, so I'm going to use what they call thermal siphoning. Since water always finds its own level, I believe I'm going to have to dig another hole for the fire and the coil, same depth as the hot tub, get water into the pipe so the outlet is right at the same level as the hot tub. So when I do the thermal siphoning, the water doesn't have to work hard to go up the pipe. It's already there. The only problem with this is I think I'm going to have to puncture a hole at the bottom of the tarp. So I pretty much just trenched from hot tub to fire pit. I have a 6-foot hose and I'm putting the female end on the hot tub side. In my head, this is a complete necessity. Who would have thought I'd be doing plumbing on the beach? Now I'm carefully going to coil this copper into a tight spiral so it can fit into the fire pit. I think that's far enough away from the fire for the outlet pipe. As long as we got coils in an outlet, we should be good. Putting some rocks on the bottom here so I can make room for the firewood. I want the coil to sit on these rocks and I can put the firewood on the inside and outside of it. Now I'm trying to see if the top of this coil is going to be at the top of that water level or close to it. And I think it's right there. The end of this 3/4 inch copper was squeezed together a little bit and I need a perfectly round circle to attach to the hose. So I've got a copper cutter here. This is a shark bite fitting going to a male end of 3/4 inch pipe thread. And all you do is push it on. You're not gonna believe this. And I'm so embarrassed to even admit this, but I've got to go back to Home Depot. This shark bite isn't the right kind. I must have picked up the wrong one. It doesn't fit over this pipe how it should. I'm gonna leave everything here and I'll be back first thing tomorrow and make this dang hot tub. $60 for the night. It's like I never left. I bought this copper coil from a guy on Facebook Marketplace, and he told me that it's been sitting in his garage for 20 years. I just don't think they make that size anymore, so I had to go with a 1/2 inch piece of copper pipe that I put into whatever size this is. And now there's one more very important connection that could ruin the whole project if it doesn't work. This is an example of what I'm trying to do. This represents the hose. I got another fitting here. I screwed it into the hose. It looks like it's a solid connection with no leaks. And to get the water out, all I have to do is pop a hole in the tarp. All right, there's nothing else to do but to do it. Oh man, if this works, that'll be a miracle. But that's the outlet, now I need the inlet. Let's get into the hot tub mood with some board shorts. I'm gonna say that this hole is about 400 or 500 gallons, and I'm gonna need to fill that up with this 5-gallon bucket since my pump won't work. Probably going to need about 10 more buckets full, but on the copper side, I see water is coming out of the top, and that's just what we wanted. But that means I'm going to have to dig another trench through the sand and connect it to the tarp so the hot water can get back there. If everything works, then this thermal siphon should heat the pool, and I'm too curious to go fishing right now, so I'm going to test it out. Now I always have some Vaseline and some cotton balls in my pack, and that works really well for a fire starter. You know what would work even better? Is a lighter. And this works pretty dang well though. A few people have left comments saying that it's not safe to burn driftwood. Someone said that there's too much salt in it or something like that. Is that true? Does anybody know definitively why they say it's not safe to burn driftwood? Before we get a big fire, let's get a reading on the water. First of all, that fire is heating up, and this water is 57 degrees. Kind of nice, it creates its own little fire pit over there. Check out my hose. We got the siphon starting. If that starts to heat, I'm putting a big log in there and I'm going fishing, coming back and taking a soak in the hot tub. Got some bubbles coming out of the bottom outlet. I don't know if that should happen or not. Let's see, watch how it works. See how that pumps out hot water like that? We're gonna get a nice spurt. There's a nice spurt of hot water. You know what I should have done first? I should have primed the system first. Gosh, I thought I was gonna go fishing, but this is bugging me so much. I know exactly why it's not working as efficiently as possible, and I won't be able to sleep at night if I don't fix this. I tried to make a fitting for the inlet in the tarp, but I ripped the tarp. So instead I've got to feed the hose over the tarp, which is making the whole system work so hard. It's 1 o'clock. If I work really hard, I should be able to dig a new hole and fill it by 3:30, so I'm gonna do that real quick. That was the best decision that I made on this trip. Look at this thing just spitting out hot water. Is it actually hot though? Oh dude, this is warming up so fast. Yes. It's kind of bubbling like that because I didn't prime it, but it doesn't really matter. You can just see all the heat coming out. It's 3 o'clock. I said I was going to fish, but it's so windy. I'm so exhausted, and I still need to make my shelter. I don't even have the energy to get the lighting right on the camera. I'm just kind of standing here in a daze. I think I better eat something before I make some hazardous mistake. Man, just the thought of eating has given me so much energy. It's really difficult to cook with wind, so it's so important to find a spot without wind when you're cooking. Come on, come on. There we go. Just some filtered water. I brought 2 packs of Indomie and I was gonna save one for later today or tomorrow, but why wait? Man, you really can't just go on indefinitely like you sometimes wish you could. You really gotta refuel the vehicle. Someone asked how I always pick good avocados. You just gotta pick them when they're barely soft. That's all, just barely soft. Just drained the water from the noodles, putting all the seasoning now. I was just going to say how important it is to choose the right sticks when you're about to eat. You don't want to use anything that has a pith. You know, that hollow part in the middle. It's better just to get something solid. The ones with the pith, as far as I know, they could be poison hemlock. If you eat that stuff, you could die. You could actually die. Even though I'm not cooking with the butter, I'm just going to add some just because I want some fat and some fuel. So just a little bit of butter. Oh my gosh, I forgot how good it is to eat. Even though it's just ramen, that was one of the best meals that I've ever had. Man, I could barely walk. I'm just gonna level this out a little bit, maybe soften up the sand. I've got my tent, that's the whole thing. I took away the rain cover. The rain cover weighs about twice as much as the tent. And in place of the rain cover, I've got this rain fly. You could do so much more with this fly. I've never used one before, so this is all a learning experience for me. Man, this thing is huge. So if the wind is coming from the north, I expect that to stay the same throughout the night. So I'm gonna make sure that the back over here is to the ground to blow the wind off the top. This is a Lynx one-man tent. I've had it forever. Love this thing. It's really nice. You don't even have to feed the poles through any guides on the tent. You can just snap them on. I know. And then you just click everything on. I much prefer this rather than feeding it through any slots, at least for a one-man tent. Man, that's harder than it looks. I just concocted a crazy shelter. Look at all these lines going all over the place. I'm just gonna ditch the tent tonight, sleep under the stars like this. There's no room for the tent under here anyway. Definitely need to work on my shelter building, but getting the experience firsthand, can't beat it. I put this extra tarp on here just to try to keep some of the heat in. I don't know if it works. Oh my gosh, it's steam. We're steaming, y'all, we're steaming. Oh, that's nice. Oh my gosh, that feels amazing. Oh my god. Oh man. What a way to end the day. I'm just gonna chill in here for like an hour. If anybody came down to the beach right now, they'll be like, what the heck is going on here? The water's probably only like 80 degrees. There are a couple improvements that I think I can make. Maybe I'll work on those after I go fishing tomorrow morning. Next time, I think I'm gonna put that big rain fly over the hot tub. That way it's not so windy, because that wind really takes that heat out of you. But man, this feels amazing. Oh my gosh, it is so cold. Oh, that wind. Woo. That wind is just a killer. Oh, I didn't bring a towel, so I'm just gonna try to dry off as much as I can. And I just spent the last 45 minutes organizing everything. I had things scattered all over the place. All the breakfast and cooking stuff is here. My 2 backpacks, my sleeping area. It's kind of nice to have this big footprint. Also got the new 9-foot 4-inch 4-piece travel rod I'll be using tomorrow. Before we go lay down and relax, I want to see what the temperature is of this water. It's been drying my shoes, drying my shorts. Well, 81 degrees, 80, 78, yeah, about 80 degrees. I'm gonna work on this on a stock tank back at home. I think what would help is if I coiled the copper maybe about a foot long and a foot and a half tall, tight coils, tight on itself, and make sure I have the levels and everything right. 80 degrees, that's not cutting it. We need to be able to get this thing up to like 100 degrees. Well, my shoes are dry. Such a beautiful night. I'm gonna lay down and get ready for the morning. Well, looks like it's time for bed. I'm using this turtleneck I have because I forgot my beanie. So when I turn one way, I can use it as a blanket too because it's kind of cold. And if I turn the other way, I can flip it over there. So, good night. See you in the morning. Brown sugar. That's a pancake. Oh yes. Man, this trip really did not go quite as planned, especially with that first day's setback. It takes about an hour and 15 minutes to go up the hill and back down, and I'm gonna have to do that twice with all the gear. And then I've got a 4-hour drive back home. So I think the best thing for me to do personally after I eat breakfast is just to pack up and head out. If you have any ideas about a fun video that I could do, let me know. There's only so many ideas that I have myself. The hot tub already drained. There must have been a small leak in it. There's only about 20 gallons left in the tub. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next adventure.